How is that possible? How can you develop a diabetic kidney disease when you are not diabetic? Is that possible? This experiment shows that it is possible. Increase in damage to the DNA can be measured in the urine of anyone who has kidney disease through this component. So you cannot discuss reversing kidney disease without discussing DNA repair. It's impossible. It is the job of PAP enzymes to initiate repair to the DNA. It is not your job. It is not the job of any chemical or drug. There is no drug anywhere under the sun that can help to initiate DNA repair except you activate PAP enzymes. These things we are discussing is not the business of chemicals and drugs. It is purely on nutrition. So it is possible to reverse a failed kidney if you can get the right kind of nutritional supplement that will address all these needs at the level of the cells. And I have a supplement I can recommend.
Hey y'all, come look at this.
We have just started.
Hello, this is Pure Health Revolution and I welcome you to our Health Enlightenment series. Today, we are going to learn a lot about yourself. Today, we're going to be discussing kidney failure and we'll discuss the scientific basis for reversing kidney failure. It is possible to restore function to a kidney that is said to have failed. Even if the person is already on dialysis, it is possible to restore function to that kidney again. And we're going to discuss the science behind that today. There are 4 things you must do in order to restore function to a kidney that is said to have failed. And the last one is one you must not miss. Please do kindly stick with us for the next few minutes while we discuss science. And please, this cap that is here is not for fancy. It is for you. Even if you don't understand the kind of things we are saying, just wear this cap and little by little you begin to understand. And then we'll do as much as possible not to use bogus words that will distract you and make you lose interest. In the days ahead or the weeks ahead, we're going to do a presentation and we'll focus only on toxins, heavy metal poisoning, and I will show us a paper published by doctors in Yenagoa, Bayelsa, where they studied lipstick and lip gloss. They studied the amount of heavy metals present in lipstick and lip gloss. And you'll be amazed at the level of heavy metal poisoning present in even lipstick, which our women use. They found lead in it, they found mercury, they found arsenic, and then there's cadmium. So when you discuss heavy metal poisoning contributing to kidney disease, you find lead, you find mercury, you find arsenic, and then you find cadmium. And then there is sugar. You've never heard about this before, but by the time we are through with you, if you can follow our page, follow our series, you are going to learn a lot about sugar. You're going to become very careful about sugar and eat sweetened beverages like this, even fruit juice and all these highly sweetened sugar beverages. So sugar makes a contribution. All these, regardless of the cause, it triggers an oxidative stress. Now, I'll get into oxidative stress in the next few slides, but let me give this to any doctor, any pharmacist, or any nurse watching this. I want to give you an assignment, and this is going to get you thinking. Around 1992, Professor Ron Kahn of Harvard University in the US, his lab designed about 8 different tissue-specific insulin resistance knockout mouse. And the mouse of interest that I want to tell us about is the glomerular podocyte insulin resistance knockout mouse. It's called the Poduco mouse. This animal is healthy. This animal is healthy. This animal is euglycemic. It has normal blood sugar level. It has normal ketones. It has everything about it, glucose metabolism, everything is normal. The only thing wrong with this rat is that at the level of the kidneys, they have removed the receptor at the cells within the kidney. So this animal is insulin resistant at the level of the cells. Everything about the rat is okay. In fact, it has normal blood sugar level. It is euglycemic. The only difference is that at the level of the cells within the kidney, they have knocked out the receptors, the insulin receptors at the cell wall or at the cell membrane of the kidney. This animal, even though it is not diabetic, developed the worst kind of diabetic nephropathy of any animal model. The animal is not diabetic, but it developed the worst kind of diabetic kidney disease of any animal model. How is that possible? How can you develop a diabetic kidney disease when you are not diabetic? Is that possible? This experiment showed that it is possible. In fact, this picture was gotten from that publication. So this animal developed the worst kind of diabetic kidney disease of any animal model, even though it was not diabetic. How is that possible? If you don't understand this, you won't understand this publication that was published on International Medical News Today last year on the 16th of May 2023. If you don't understand this Poduco mouse, if you don't understand how this animal was able to develop diabetic kidney disease even though it was not diabetic, if you don't understand insulin resistance and the role it plays in causing kidney disease, you will not understand this publication. So I said there are 4 things you can do in order to restore function to a kidney that has lost its functionality, a kidney that is said to have failed. Even if the person is already on dialysis, there are 4 things you can do. Now, this paper published on Medical News Today, which we are going to read now, drives the matter into the cells. What we can learn from the discovery at Ron Kahn lab in Harvard many years ago is that you have to recognize that kidney failure or kidney disease begins at the level of the cells. Even if the person is diabetic, the problem is not it's not the blood sugar. It begins at the level of the insulin resistance. And when you look at it in that aspect, everything begins to make sense. Then you have to now question what happens within the cell that ultimately makes the cell to down-regulate its insulin receptors at the cell membrane and becomes insulin resistant. Because if the cells within the kidney becomes insulin resistant, it is going to develop issues. In fact, the problem has started already. So let's read what was published in Medical News Today on May 16th of 2023. The title says, Key Pathway Underlying Kidney Disease. Key pathway underlying kidney disease. Let's read. They said, the normal functioning of kidneys requires high level of energy, and kidney diseases is characterized by a disruption of that energy metabolism. Did you see that? See, I'd like you to subscribe to our page. I'd like you to share. I'd like you to like. We're going to drive this and we're going to elaborate this at the level of the cells. That's where we're going. And I don't want you to miss any of our publications so that little by little, your eyes are going to open So that it's not just that we want to present to you a supplement for you to buy, but we want you to see the science that explains why the drugs are not getting the job done, and you have to embrace a complementary therapy. Complementary therapy, not to rule out the drugs, but to use nutrition to capture areas that drugs cannot capture. Now, this paper drives the matter down to the level of the of energy metabolism, that the functioning of the kidney requires high level of energy, and that will take us right into the mitochondria. And every kidney disease is characterized by a disruption of that energy metabolism, and that will take us into the mitochondria at the level of the cells. We're going to get there in the next few minutes. Look at the next page. It says nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, NAD, is a molecule that plays a key role in energy metabolism and cellular signaling, with studies suggesting that changes in NAD metabolism with kidney diseases. Again, they said a new study using kidney samples from humans and mice suggests that NAD deficiency plays a central role in mediating inflammation and metabolic changes observed in kidney disease. Are you following? Are you please? I want to read that again for emphasis, because our first recommendation in the 4 things you must do in order to restore function to a kidney that has failed, the first thing is to restore NAD levels. That's the first thing. Look at what they said in the second paragraph again for emphasis. They said a new study using kidney samples from humans and mice suggests that NAD deficiency plays a central role in mediating inflammation and metabolic changes observed in kidney diseases. The study also reports that supplementation with precursors used by the body for NAD synthesis help to protect mice against kidney disease. So they just quoted an animal model, and they said that a study on animals shows that supplementing, using a supplement that contains the building blocks of NAD, can protect against kidney disease. The fourth paragraph said these findings could help in the development of therapeutics for kidney diseases. So they are now making a forecast in the future that these findings concerning the role that NAD plays in producing kidney disease, these findings suggest that in the future there could be a possibility of developing drugs that could help with kidney disease. Let's read the conclusion. They say kidney disease is associated with inflammation and impaired functioning of the mitochondria, which are the organelles involved in energy production. So that brings us to our next item on the list. The first one is to restore NAD levels. NAD levels. The second one is to correct mitochondrial dysfunction. I mentioned something about inflammation and oxidative stress. And what we read in the medical news told us that he mentioned NAD and he mentioned mitochondria. And I said that one of the things that we must address in our bid to reverse kidney failure is NAD levels and then mitochondrial dysfunction. This is mitochondria where the energy is produced. And now talking about oxidative stress, there is such a thing as oxidants and then pro-oxidants. Every time we breathe in and we breathe out, we breathe in oxygen, that also oxygen gets broken down. When it gets broken down, you can produce free radicals. But normally in life, we take vitamins, the minerals, and everything else that the nutrients we take in are antioxidants. they neutralize free radicals. So when you have this, when your body is balanced like this, then you are healthy. A time comes when, if your body produces more reactive oxygen species, you produce more free radicals, and you're not able to neutralize them with enough vitamins, the minerals, the enzymes, and some non-enzymes, then the pendulum will swing in favor of the pro-oxidants. In this case, your body is said to be under oxidative stress. The first thing I told us was that you have to restore NAD levels. When you restore NAD levels, you can correct mitochondrial dysfunction. How do you restore NAD levels? There are three ways that the body produces NAD. Three basic pathways. There is the salvage pathway, there is a price handler pathway, and then there is a de novo pathway. Among these three pathways, the most important pathway, or should I say the pathway with the least energy requirement, which nature favors, is the salvage pathway. You can use the right kind of nutrition supplements, as they mentioned it in the medical news. If you use the right kind of supplements to boost back NAD levels, you can correct, if you raise back NAD levels, you can correct mitochondrial dysfunction. And the question is how? How does the mitochondria produce energy? It has an electron transport chain. It has an electron transport chain, and at the end of that electron transport chain, ATP is produced, chemical form of energy in the body produced inside our cells from inside the mitochondria is ATP. But for mitochondria to produce ATP, it has to subject the nutrients or the glucose and oxygen through the electron transport chain. And for the stability of the electron transport chain, you need NAD. And for anybody who has a kidney disease, you are low on NAD. At the level of the cells, you are low on energy production. When you are low on NAD, there is increase in electron leakage from the electron transport chain. Therefore, within the mitochondria, inside the cell, you cannot produce enough ATP. That's what the medical news were saying. That's what the science is now, it's now revealing. So, 4 things you must do to restore kidney function. And the first one is to restore NAD levels. When you restore NAD levels, the miracles begin to happen. The first one is that you will strengthen the electron transport chain, and you will reduce electron leakage, the leakage of electrons from the electron transport chain. When you do this, you will restore energy production at the level of the cells. I'm going to show you how that is very important. So we've mentioned 2 things. One is to restore NAD levels so that you can correct the electron leakage at the level of the electron transport chain within the mitochondria. The second is to correct mitochondrial dysfunction. Because you have raised back NAD levels, you are going to activate Saturns. There are some genes called Saturns. So the Saturns, these genes, Saturns, they need NAD to initiate repair within the mitochondria. These things we are discussing is not the business of chemicals and drugs. It is purely on nutrition. The Saturns will reduce inflammation within the mitochondria. Now, inflammation or oxidative stress, when it is very high, when NAD levels are low, there will be increase in electron leakage from the electron transport chain. This increase in electron leakage will always react with oxygen, and it will form this superoxide. Now, this superoxide These kind of free radicals cause damages to the DNA. This is very significant. Let me explain this. In the way the DNA is designed, the DNA has four components. Four components. It has the adenine, it has thymine, it has guanine, and it has cysteine. Now, the guanine is that component on the DNA that has the lowest ionization potential. So, when free radicals, okay, sorry, I called it cysteine, it's actually cytosine. Now, when free radicals want to attack the DNA, they like to attack it from the point of the guanine because it has the lowest ionization potential. When free radicals attack the DNA strand, they cause damages, and the damage can be measured in the urine of people who have either kidney failure or even have high blood pressure or diabetes and all that. The result is 8-hydroxy-2-deoxyguanosine. This hydroxylated guanosine can be measured in the urine. It's a product of damage to the DNA caused by free radicals. So you cannot discuss reversing kidney disease without discussing DNA repair. It's impossible. And from here, we can also discuss the damage to the DNA leads to changes in the epigenome. And because of the increase of damage to the DNA, it can cause epigenetic changes that can shut down gene expression. That's a broad topic. Sorry if you don't understand what I said. Just use this cap and cover your face and pretend that you understand. I want you to know that increase in damage to the DNA can be measured in the urine of anyone who has kidney disease through this component. In fact, look at this paper and we'll summarize with it. It was published on PubMed in 2004. It's entitled Urinary 8-hydroxy-2-deoxyguanosine, a marker of oxidative stress to the DNA and a risk factor for cancer, arteriosclerosis, and diabetics. If you read the paper, it will tell you that the level of this component, this hydroxyguanosine, its level in the urine can predict the level of damage to the kidney of anyone who is diabetic. So we have mentioned three things. One is you must restore NAD levels. Two is that you must correct the mitochondrial dysfunction. Three is that you must engage in DNA repair. How do you engage in DNA repair? If you raise NAD levels, you activate sirtuins, and then you also activate PAP enzymes. It is the job of PAP enzymes to initiate repair to the DNA. It is not your job. It is not the job of any chemical or drug. There is no drug anywhere under the sun that can help to initiate DNA repair except you activate PAP enzymes. And you activate PAP enzymes by raising back NAD levels because they use NAD as a cofactor to initiate damage to the DNA. Things that cause damage to the kidney. We mentioned multiple myeloma, autoimmune diseases, autoimmune conditions, nephritis, heavy metals, and even sugar and processed foods. They cause oxidative stress, and increase in oxidative stress affects nitric oxide metabolism. By that I mean endogenous or within the body endogenous nitric oxide production and signaling. What I mean is how the body produces nitric oxide, and the signaling of nitric oxide within the kidney is compromised. Remember that in the question in the paper I showed much earlier, which I gave it as doctors to study, that animal which was used in that study, that's the Poduco mouse, the only thing they had was insulin resistance. And for you to develop insulin resistance within the cell, that will down regulate this receptor at the cell membrane, at the insulin receptor at the cell membrane, means that nitric oxide signaling pathway within the cell has been disrupted, and it is caused by free radicals, especially superoxide. Superoxide reacts with nitric oxide. It reacts with nitric oxide to form peroxynitrite. These are reactions that are very, very important. In fact, with this reaction, I can show you why diabetics find it difficult to grapple with intracellular bacterial infection. So, by way of summary, you must protect nitric oxide metabolism. If you don't protect nitric oxide within the cells, you are going to have the blood vessels within the kidney will begin to narrow. That's how kidneys fail. You will have vasoconstriction within the kidney. The oxidative stress also increases DNA damage, which causes epigenetic changes, which can shut down gene expression within the cells in the kidney. And if epigenetic changes happens within the cell that shuts down gene expression, the kidney has failed. 4 things you must do. 1 is that you must raise back NAD levels. 2 is that you must restore and correct mitochondrial dysfunction. You must initiate DNA repair, and you must engage in protecting nitric oxide production and signaling. Nitric oxide signaling pathway within the cell is a broad topic. In fact, in 1998, it earned 3 American scientists a Nobel Prize. We will discuss that in detail in the course of our presentations. So it is possible to reverse a failed kidney if you can get the right kind of nutritional supplement that will address all these needs at the level of the cells. And I have a supplement I can recommend. If you will make contact using the number on your screen, we can recommend these supplements to you. I want you to bear this in mind, that kidney disease of any kind is a medical emergency. Whenever it is present, it must be pursued with every sense of urgency. And chemicals and drugs alone cannot get the job done. You must look in the area of nutrition as a complementary therapy. We have testimonies already of people who were on dialysis, and they have restored back kidney function. Traveling abroad for kidney transplant must not be the first option. Using nutritional supplements, it's not just essential, it is crucial. In fact, it is critical. If you have anyone who has a kidney disease, please make contact through the number on your screen. Don't take chances. Please take supplements. In the end, it is your health. It is your choice.
Thank you.